I have recorded this thing like 40 times and it's so hard to make this work, but here goes. Welcome to Everything I've Never Said. I can't believe I'm actually saying these words because back in October when I started this, I was like 99% certain that I would never actually get around doing this. But it's happening and it's real, so I think I proved myself wrong. Right off the bat, I have never done something like this before. This is like my first autonomous expressive endeavor. And that is also kind of part of the reason I'm going to get right into this because I have no idea how to give this thing a proper introduction. In fact, while writing the whole thing and planning it out, I just never had any idea what to say. And maybe that's why this makes this podcast what it is. It's fair if I introduce myself. I am Lakshita, I am 16, a writer by hobby, and I play the uke and I write poems. And my favorite movie of all time is The Dead Poets Society, and there's nothing I love in the world more than cats. That kind of sums up my whole personality. I really don't have any fundamental reasons to be starting this podcast other than this is what I've always wanted to do. Even like as a kid when I was way younger, I used to speak a lot to a point where it was exhausting for people to listen to me because I used to talk all the time, and it was not always stuff people wanted to listen to. I just liked getting my thoughts across. I did not care if people actually listened to me. But I don't have that kind of confidence in me anymore, and the thought of saying the stuff in front of a real person, knowing that they're listening to me, just scares me. This podcast, for exactly these reasons, was something I needed to get out of my head a bit because even though I don't speak as much anymore, I think just as much, if not more. And I wouldn't pretend like this wasn't an idea I got while I was listening to Anything Goes by Emma Chamberlain. Her and her podcast is honestly one of the biggest inspirational driving forces of this thing. I have always loved her videos and her podcast and the person who she is as a whole. It's one of the biggest baselines for what I am doing right now. Because when I was listening to her podcast, Anything Goes, I realized that everything I ever wanted to hear somebody tell me in any given situation, she used to say it on a mic. And I wanted to do that for myself and for others, except it's my own thoughts. Now, this is like run by two people, me and my best friend, and we are both very different from each other. Our ideas are rarely the same. We always have very conflicting opinions and just thoughts as a whole. So, our approach is going to be very informal, very different, and honest. And the podcast as a whole, as a result, will be chaotic. And as somebody who doesn't like chaos too much, I hope I don't freak out about it and manage it. Well, I don't really know anything about what I am doing, or I don't have a quantitative measurement of how easily scalable or successful this potentially could be. Because one thing that I ironically didn't do before starting a podcast was study the podcast market. I just never cared enough. I just wanted to rush into it all and I just wanted to get a mic and start saying things that I've always wanted to hear. Now, I will not hide away from the fact that the possibility of my friends listening to this doesn't terrify me. It's like the scariest thing I've ever done. Because, like, I can't imagine them listening to me talk about all of this stuff, then I see them the very next day. But I know they're gonna be the first people listening to this because they've known about this for so long. Anyway, it's all a bit crazy for me, but here's the thing, I am doing this for myself and for the people who will be able to find even the slightest bit of relatability. Is that a word? In what I say. I write a lot and mostly poetry, so it's hard for me to not express myself in a very well structured and forced, scripted manner, but I try my best. I really hope that going forward I get more comfortable with talking about whatever I talk about in general. But I'll have to accept that I'll be very awkward till the day comes. Now, please relate with me for the next indefinite amount of episodes. I think this is it for the introduction. I don't really have much to say. But once again, welcome to Everything I've Never Said. This was Lakshita, and I'm gonna see you next week. Bye.